Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening. You are watching Nub's Collection, a YouTube series dedicated to the cataloging and review of every game in my physical media collection. As always, I am your host, Victor Nub, and today we are looking at Extreme G, developed by Probe Entertainment, published by Acclaim Entertainment, and released in the United States on October 27th of 1997. Extreme G is a futuristic racing game in the same vein as a franchise recently featured on Nub's Collection, Wipeout, the key difference being that the vehicles in Extreme G are motorcycles as opposed to anti-gravity crafts. That said, the similarities between the games are numerous. Both games were set in the distant future, featuring arcade-style racing at incredibly high speeds. Both games feature on-track weapons and defensive items. Both games feature a relatively small number of tracks available from the outset, with more unlocked by completing championship runs. Both games were developed by a London-based developer with an understanding and passion for techno music. Unlike Wipeout, Extreme G features a completely original techno soundtrack. No licensed music was used in this game. Players are provided with a limited stock of nitro boosts that cannot be replenished until the race completes. Bikes cannot be completely knocked out of a race by losing their health or falling off of a cliff. Track designs feature more impractical elements like 90-degree pitches, corkscrews, and long jumps. And finally, the game features a fairly uninspired multiplayer battle mode that echoes the combat found in Mario Kart 64. We're not going to be looking at that today because it's pretty bad. Extreme G was a moderate commercial success, selling 700,000 copies within the first year of release, and spawning a sequel, Extreme G2, which released a year later in November of 1998. That's all the notes that I had for the game today. I think this is one of those ones where you really don't need a whole lot of setup. You just go ahead and get right into it. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll check the options to see if there's anything I need to tweak. Display bike positions. Display nothing. Bike names. Positions, that's fine. This game does ask you at the very outset to insert a controller pack so that you can save. However, as you can see, there is a password system. I don't know if this actually saves your progress in a championship run. I think the password system is for unlocking bikes. So there are special bikes that you can unlock if you enter the right password that make you much more formidable. We're not going to mess with the audio at all. I didn't see anything there that I really needed. I think single player is just for like non-championship stuff where you can run individual races or time trials, what have you. I think what we want is extreme contest because I think that is the one where you can basically go through the gamut of tracks. The way it starts is Atomic only gives you 4 tracks that you can play. Critical Mass gives you, if it's not 6, it's 8 tracks, and then Meltdown, the final one, gives you all 12 of the ones that are available. So obviously we're probably not going to make it all the way through to seeing all 12 of them today. I'll do what I can to make it through the first run with the 4 tracks, and then do as much as we can of the second one before we go ahead and call it an episode. How good am I at this game? I mean, I beat it. I know I beat it at some point. I don't think I'm the greatest racer in the world, and this game can be a little bit finicky in the way that it handles. So we'll get a look at it once we start the race here. All right, speed, acceleration. Boy, that's bad acceleration. I think the one that I always went with was Grimace. It's making me think that was the one that I always chose. Apollyon might be a good one too, but I like good turn radius. Yeah, I think Grimace is the one that we're going with. It's just an ugly bike. Also, I think you could change the skins, but I don't remember how you do it. Let's just go ahead and run the track. All right, and you'll have to bear with me. I really don't remember the controls, and I'm using a completely different controller than the N64 controller, so it might take a second before I get my feel for it. Nope, that's not the accelerator. There we go. So the bike is very touchy. As you can see, I'm whipping left and right here. Well, I hit one of the boosts. I didn't mean to do that yet. And you can see I'm already bouncing off the walls. I have no idea how you release this. Oh yeah, I forgot. You also, if you don't have a weapon, which I'm really struggling to use here for some reason. Come on, how do I use this? Nope, I hit the boost again. I gotta stop hitting B. Whoa! Oh, yeah. I mean, it's early and I'm not losing, and I obviously turned the difficulty down, but I remember liking the fact that this game just has such a nice speed to it, which is an odd thing. I did it again. I'm trying to use this item. That's not it. I don't know what the button is. Oh, is this one of those things where I gotta use the... Yep. Oh, the weird control scheme. Oh! Yeah, that thing that just hit me basically made my bike stick to the walls. I couldn't pull it away from the wall. Alright, so yeah, with the controller... Don't you dare. Someone's riding my butt. Uh-oh. Oh, I got hit anyway. Anyone want to try me? Come on. Get up here. I dare ya. Can I fire these backwards? Sure can't. Oh, but I can change the camera angle. I hate that. So I'm not afraid. Oh, boy. Get out of here. Get. My run. My world. How did I get back in first place? I didn't pass that guy. Maybe I killed him. Yes, I could have taken the left track, but I'm not going to mess around right now. Just stay the way we're going right now. So one of the reasons why I picked up this game, and we haven't really gone into this at all much on the channel, is this was right around the time... Of course I missed. Oh, nope. Maybe I didn't. No, I did. This game came out right around the time I started developing more of an interest in music. When I was a kid, yeah, my parents were the kind of weirdos that thought that, you know, music was going to corrupt their poor, precious baby boy, and if I listened to it, you know, it was, you know, like worshiping Satan or whatever. So I didn't really get into it until I was an older teen, getting close to graduating from high school. I had gotten a job at an amusement park and started earning money for myself, and I started picking up more and more video games, and then started picking up CDs. Around this time, I was starting to develop an interest in techno music. You know, at that time, that's what they called it. It wasn't house or EDM or trance or any of these other subgenres of the main thing. It was just called techno from what I knew when I was a kid. There was a show that was on MTV, usually on late nights on the weekends, like 1, 2 a.m., called AMP. And what AMP was, it was a show that they featured almost exclusively techno, and I don't think they ever played any other kind of music. It was just techno. And for music where an official music video was never released, what they would do is they would do something more akin to like a Winamp visualizer, basically, where they would just have a bunch of weird visual effects. Oh, God. And sometimes they would even include things like they would actually make a video just for the song. And if they usually did weird stuff where they had like mirror effects on the screen where everything would get like flipped halfway through the screen. So you would see like, you know, if someone was dancing on the edge of the screen, you would see them mirrored on the other half of the screen, like say on the right side or left side. I didn't mean to hit the boost again. Okay, we're gonna get the hang of this. Oh, gotcha. And that really started driving my interest in techno around that time. The band that I think kind of brought me in for real would have been Prodigy, but it would have been before I had ever heard Fat of the Land. And Fat of the Land is, of course, the big breakthrough album that kind of made them a name in music, not just in techno, but in music in general. And the song that they used to feature all the time on AMP that really kind of brought me to them was Voodoo People. And it was a track that used to play all the time on AMP. They would feature that song probably every single time they had a show for it. That song ended up making me buy an EP of their music. Yes, you do bounce off walls. You don't fly off the track necessarily there. And the EP featured not just the regular version of Voodoo People, but also remixes of it and a few other tracks that they had done on, I think, a couple of non-album releases that they had done back when they were called The Prodigy, and at some point they had changed it to just Prodigy, and now they might be back to just being The Prodigy. I don't know. It was a little bit weird. I used to listen to that album or EP all the time. I mean, it was like a once a day listen. It was usually only 30 or 40 minutes of music, but I would, if it was possible to burn a hole in a CD listening to it, I probably would have, because that one was on regular rotation. Especially there was like a remix that they had, I want to say it was the Chemical Brothers do of Voodoo People, and I used to love that song. It was so good. So that was kind of what drew me into listening to techno, and more specifically, drew me to games kind of like this one and Wipeout, where the soundtrack was basically all techno. And I think what happened was Extreme G, I didn't buy it right off the bat. I had rented it, and I really enjoyed the music, and then I ended up finding a used copy of this and buying it for probably $10-20. Right when I had gotten a job, I didn't buy brand new games because I think I was only making like $5-6 an hour, so you couldn't really afford a whole lot. But I also didn't have to worry about paying for food. I didn't have to worry about paying for I don't think I had to, well, I had to pay for gas. I don't think I had to pay for insurance. My parents weren't quite that malevolent at that point. They weren't like, well, you got a car, you got to pay for the insurance. I think they gave me a break on that for a little while. So I really didn't have a whole lot that I needed to do with my, I'm going to drop that there. With my money, I could just spend it on whatever I want. For the most part, I spent it on video games. Yes, the audio is a little bit hitchy. Unfortunately, the N64 emulation on the Polymega is not perfect. I do note that the N64 games tend to be a little bit harder to keep running smoothly than the PlayStation games. But yeah, I would spend my money on basically nothing but video games and CDs at that time. Yes, I'm old enough that I bought CDs at one point. In fact, I'm old enough that the first music I ever bought was a cassette. I think it was the soundtrack for The Lion King. Hey, you know what? It was a good soundtrack. I have no regrets. Ah! But yeah, if I bought games at all, I would try to go to like Funko Land, or if I knew that a local rental place was going to be clearing out stock, or, you know, occasionally if they were just trying to remove a game from their catalog because, you know, it wasn't getting rented anymore. There was a place that I used to go to all the time that would just put games up for sale, and they would have like a little for sale bin. I think I just hit my own mind. Dummy. But I would hit those places on a regular basis and pick up games for cheap if it was something that I had an interest in. In particular, this game, you know, I played it on a regular basis and I liked it, so when they put it up for sale, and I think it would have cost maybe $10-15, I absolutely snapped it up with no regrets. This is absolutely one of those games that if we were doing a Rental Regrets episode for, I would say that I still enjoy it and that I would have wanted to buy it outright if I could have. Now, there are some weird quirks, and we may end up poking into one of them in a couple of minutes here if I'm really dogging on one of these tracks, that the game didn't really have a good solution for. One of the ones that we can see right now, I mean, it's pretty pervasive in the entire game, is the fact that there is a ton of fog. The N64 was no stranger to having to fog the environment whenever they wanted to load assets, especially if the game involved you moving very, very fast. They had to mask stuff that they were loading as quickly as they could, and unfortunately that meant that, you know, every area you played in seems like it was London in the middle of its foggiest day ever. We're not really making a ton of progress, but we're hanging. I think that's the important part. Next. And I will say this, while the controls are a little more chaotic, all right, we're on the last race, I do think it's actually a little bit faster than, say, get out of here. That little laser beam you shoot can basically shut down other racers if you want to catch up to them. Unfortunately, I think they can do the same thing. Yeah, this game does feel and play a lot faster than Wipeout, and I didn't get Wipeout before I got Extreme G. This would have been the first futuristic racer that I ever would have owned. But, yeah, even though the graphical fidelity is obviously not on par, holy crap! There is more chaos in the individual tracks, like what we're seeing right now, where we're basically on a big corkscrew, and how in the hell did the bike stick to the track? Who cares? Video games, you're enjoying it, right? And there's plenty of weird stuff that you'll see on other tracks that we haven't seen just yet. Okay, let me control. There we go. But these kind of games, I think the entire goal of them and their design and the way that they race is that you're trying to evoke a sense of speed. So obviously, if you can do that, even at the expense of maybe smoother, more comfortable controls, why wouldn't you do it? I just wish there was a brake. I don't think there is. I haven't found one. I don't think this is going to be enough for me to get first place, but we can certainly rerun the entire gamut without me yammering, and I think that may have been what was causing me to be a little more distracted on this first attempt. Not that I'm going to shut up completely. I mean, the whole point of these games, or these videos, is me talking, but yeah. All right, let's put you right here. Nope. I hit my boost. I didn't mean to hit the boost! There we go. Yeah, we're doing all right. I really do like that they give you a secondary weapon, especially when it works as well as this one does. It's not like a little ineffectual machine gun that just kind of goes boop, 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 and then nothing really changes. This one, if you actually use it when you're within proximity of an enemy, will actually slow them down to the point where you can overtake them. It's a bit like a, for lack of a better term, like a drift beam. Or not a drift beam, but what's the term when you're behind a vehicle and like racing? Maybe it is drifting. Basically where you're inside of the small pocket of drag behind them where they can't, like you sitting behind them causes their vehicle to slow down, and you can use that to kind of slingshot around them. All right, we'll just do nub. Oh, well, okay, no, I finished first, but that doesn't mean I won, does it? Oh, I fell short by 2 points. I don't know if that's going to be enough to get the next one unlocked. Ooh. Look at those beautiful neon colors. You cannot be a futuristic game in 1997, 98 unless there's neon colors. Try entering your name as Roller. Now play Critical Mass. Okay, so we didn't unlock it. I guess if you end up in the top 3, you gain the ability to, well, maybe it's just top 2, who knows. You get the ability to play in the other tracks. I think intermediate and extreme just make the other racers more competitive. Like, they'll shoot you more often. I don't know. Can I back up? Yeah. All right, back up. Back up. Enter my name. How do I enter my name? Enter password? There's no O. How do I enter my name as Roller? Ah, whatever. Maybe they mean use the 0? Well, there's no E! Where are the letters? Okay, forget it. I think they mean... Oh, wait a minute. Let's see if we can find a password. Just take a second here. Who knows? Maybe there are some good ones that we can unlock for the game. Oh, okay. So if we entered Roller as the name for a character, it would actually turn all the bikes in the game into rolling boulders. Let's do... I kind of want to unlock one of the better vehicles. I think what we'll do is we'll do... there's a password for all tracks and bonus cars, and then we can just skip straight to the final run of races. Meltdown, or whatever the last one is. So it says if you enter 81GGD5, there we go. That unlocked everything in the game, the final track there, as well as all of the bikes, which means I can find the best one, if I can remember which one it is. It might be Roach, but in fact it's Neon. Yep, there we go. All right, so let's use Neon. Yes, it's a little cheesy and I'm cheating, but hey, you know what? We're just trying to look at the game. We're not worried about whether or not I can show off my technical prowess at a game I haven't played in 25 years. Which is to say, I'm probably no good at it anymore. Start? Nah, I didn't hit it in time. And this is going to be a much, much, much faster bike than before, so things are probably going to get a little more chaotic. I do apologize for that. Now, the conceit in this game, and I don't know if this was a conceit in the other game as well, is the fact that you're on Earth. I don't know if that was the case in Wipeout. But more importantly, you're on Earth after an apocalypse that wiped out life and forced humans to go to other planets. So that is the conceit here, and the fact that the bikes that we are using are not being ridden by humans. They are all remote control. So what happens to the bikes really does not affect how the game plays out, essentially, or how the racer fares. If they die, or the bike crashes, no one dies or gets hurt. At least I hope so. I don't know, maybe it's one of those things where they are all wearing VR headsets, and if they miss a jump or crash or something, they get, like, electrocuted. Fail in the game, fail in real life. It's like the Matrix. You know, you can get hurt in the Matrix and probably survive it, but if you get killed in the Matrix, you die in real life because your body believes it's real. Yes, I'm doing a terrible job moving back and forth. This game, unlike Wipeout, does not have drifting. You can't use an air brake to hang a sharp or turn around corners. There's nothing like that. In fact, unless I'm missing a button, there's no brake at all. Oh! Whoa! Alright, let's put that back here. Oh! Do not use first-person mode. My god. The really sharp whipping left and right on the camera when you turn, it would absolutely give motion sickness if you were doing that, or give me motion sickness at least. Let's turn this on. Oh yeah, I remember that. So they have a beam that basically... Oh, you could enter the name here if you wanted to. We're just gonna leave it. Wasn't even close. The other racers were 14 seconds behind. I cooked them. I don't know if they mixed in the new tracks with the old ones or if you just go in order. It looks like you just go in order. Nope, didn't hit it. So the key to getting a boost in this one is you want to nail max speed on your accelerator right when the race starts, and then you get a little jump. I remember this one, if you're using this particular bike, you actually go so fast you bounce off of the barriers on the track that kind of are meant to keep you from flying off. And it can be pretty chaotic. I mean, you're seeing me bounce all over the place right now. So one of the weird quirks about this game, and I think they did it for the exact reason that just happened right there, which is there's jumps all throughout the game that can affect your ability to go backwards. Now, what does that matter in terms of your performance on a track? Well, let me stop. Well, I picked a bad spot to do it. We'll do it on the other side of this. So one of the things, and I used to do this all the time if I was getting frustrated because I was losing during a race. One of the things they did to make sure that you couldn't accidentally kill yourself by going backwards is they make it so that you can't turn around. If you try to turn around, your bike speeds up and crashes into the wall. That was not me accelerating at the last second. The game literally forces your bike to accelerate so that you cannot go backwards at any point in time. And I get it. They did that because they don't want you to break the game. It probably is one of these things where if you accidentally go off the track backwards, you tear the environment, your bike just continues going instead of the game crashing you and basically respawning you on the track. But I kind of wish you could have gone backwards, especially on tracks where there was no reason to have a jump where you could literally just go backwards and mess with people. Gotcha. I think we're on the third lap, right? So I need to start picking up the pace. All right, so this is an example of where you can take an alternate path, which I hadn't been doing at this point. Don't miss the track this time. There we go. I need to run. Go! I didn't catch him. How far back was I? I set the record lap time, but I came in second. I think it's individual laps, not the whole run. I was only 3 seconds behind. I'm still ahead of him. That's the important part. I think they give you a bonus point if you set a record. So while I did have an interest in techno music around the time that I got this game and was obviously starting to gain more of an interest in music, it was not the first... I got a little boost there. Hey, this is a new track, I think. Or a new version of a track we've seen. Techno was not the first album I bought. That would have been... I think it was Smashing Pumpkins? It was. It was the album Adore. Or, yeah, I think that was what it was called. Adore. Which was the one where Billy Corgan got super grimdark and, like, emo, or I guess at that point it would have been called goth. Because all the art in the album was, like, super dark and gritty and black and white, and all the music on the album just had a much heavier, darker tone than the previous album, which was Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. And I think the reason for that was, and I mean, Billy Corgan probably has spoken about this in the past, they recorded that album either during or shortly after the death of their keyboardist. So he was already kind of in a dark place. And it definitely shines in a lot of the songs that they had on that album because they were very heavy and depressing and dark. But yeah, they had one song on there that I really liked, and it was, I think it was called Ava Adore. It had a really nice bass line to it. And of course, that was before Billy Corgan blew up the band and got rid of all the band members, which happened, I think, shortly before he started on tour for that album, and then basically said goodbye to everyone, including his drummer. And the drummer was like the one member of the band that everyone respects as an artist because he's legitimately like one of the better drummers that come out of the 90s. But yeah, that was the first album I ever bought, and I don't regret it. It definitely hasn't held up over time necessarily. I don't think it's one of their better albums, but I liked it when I got it. And don't ask me what the second or third or fourth albums I bought were. I don't remember. There are quite a few that I was a fan of the music of the 90s at the time that I started buying albums, but I can't remember what they were. I'd be guessing. Well, if I had to guess, I think the second album might have been a Bush album. Yep, we're good. Continue. I don't understand. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what the points are. I really don't know what the points are good for. I also don't know what they mean by points needed. Maybe it's to win the quote-unquote championship, but if that's the case, then I could literally fail out the rest of the game, and I'd still win. I don't think that's the case. Boy, they really do like those white screen transitions, don't they? All right, we'll get this. 2, go. Nope, too early. Ah, you got me with the thing. That is a very cool power-up. I'm gonna catch him, though. Whoa! Oh, when you hit the turbo boost with this one, it is outrageous. I will say, the game really does seem a little bit framey when you're going super fast, which I don't recall being a problem with Wipeout. But, you know, I don't know if we've not gone over the technical limitations of the two consoles. The N64, despite being a quote-unquote 64-bit console as opposed to the PlayStation, which was a 32-bit console, I think processor-wise, the PlayStation just performed better. It just did. Graphics were less muddy because they had the ability to use CDs as their medium, so there was less compression. Doesn't mean there was no compression, it just means there was less of it. And the music was absolutely better because you had CD space for CD-type tracks, WAV files usually, for the music. Oh, I hear another whoa, 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 whoa somewhere. Now let's hit the boost again right when we get to the long run. Right here, and go. Whoa! I don't think we've had a chance to lap anyone yet, but I haven't been paying attention to the bar on the top. I do recall there being like a total swag move I used to do on that particular part of the track, the straightaway, after you get over the loop-de-loop, where I would go dead center on the track and hit the lane divider, the little ramp up, because you can absolutely go on top of it. All right, and first place. Yeah, this bike is cheat mode, basically. The game's not hard anymore. That's all right. Well, we wanted to look at the final tracks. Again, I don't know what the points are. My guess, if I had to guess for what the points represent when you get the little additional bonus point, I think they give you 1 point for every vehicle you destroy. Even though I don't think I've destroyed any vehicles yet. Maybe pushing them off a track counts as quote-unquote destroying them. I would say, though, giving vehicles a health bar when it doesn't seem like I'm ever really in danger of being destroyed is maybe a dumb choice. And it's not just the problem with this game. I think Wipeout had that same problem, where it seemed like they gave you weapons that you could use to hit other enemies, and in theory, if you damaged them enough, they would be destroyed. But it never seemed to do it. Whoa! Ow! I mean, I did have a couple of tracks when we were looking at that at Wipeout, where I got kind of close to being completely damaged to the point of wiping out, but it never happened. And this one, same thing. I have a health bar. Oh, fire backwards, yay. But I haven't come anywhere close to being wiped out, even going over jumps. And I don't think that actually takes you out of the track. I mean, I said that in the notes, but I'm not 100% on it. This is a cool power-up. If a vehicle gets behind you while you're using it, you'll absolutely damage their vehicle. Unfortunately, I don't know if there's a way to look behind you. Oh! Oh, ping pong. Bouncing off the walls. This race was sponsored by Kilograms. Please, use the metric system. Please. They're begging you. Ow! Oh! I don't know how to get through those parts smoothly. I don't think there is a way to do it. I will say, you know, and it's hard to say this about much music. I think music is too subjective to ever, or at least popular music, is too subjective to ever say that you can see the progression of styles or complexity in the music, at least with popular music. But techno is absolutely a genre where I would say you can see where things have gotten better or more complex over the years. I think early techno maybe leaned a little too heavy on the same beat throughout an entire track. It never changed. It never slowed down or sped up. And that's definitely not the case with more modern techno. They recognize that, you know, you don't have to have the same 180 beats per minute in the background throughout the entire track for it to be a good track. That'd be one big thing that I think they've changed over the years. Also, most early techno, I would say, tended to be synthesizer only, and you know, more modern techno actually uses other ways of producing sound. Real instruments, unusual sound effects that, you know, happen to fit with the music that they're trying to produce. Use the boost there. That was a terrible idea. Win. Yes. Oh boy. I think it was a mistake using this bike. It's fun. I'm enjoying myself, but at the same time, I think I made it too easy. Probably could have bumped up the difficulty if we wanted to use this bike. That said, we want to... The real star of these kinds of games are the tracks and seeing what unusual stuff they throw in there at the player. Nope, still too early. Gotcha. Get out of the way. It's my race now. Woo! I'm going 500 miles an hour, apparently. I hit that wall so hard I broke the game. It just stopped. Uh-oh. I didn't mean to hit the boost again. I will say the tempo of the music that they made for this game absolutely fits. And yes, I did just pass a bunch of buses. Oh, God. Again, what we're supposed to be viewing here is we're on planet Earth after the apocalypse. So there's no people here. Everything should be a burnt out, rusted mess. Did they capture the aesthetic? I don't know. I feel like they did. Ow! Rubbing is racing. Whoa. Ah! Past the buses again. I love this. Now, one thing I don't love about it is, it's easy to not do that correctly because your bike pulls towards the walls when you go through the corkscrew. But whoa. But one of the things that they absolutely did well is they made it so that you are disoriented by all the stuff happening on screen because of how fast it's happening. So it really does test your twitch reflexes. Okay, well, let's go up. See what I hit here. Ah, doesn't look like it changed much. Oh, I wanted to go down. Eh, whatever. And boost. Ow! Ooh! I should be dead. Ah! We got it, we got it, we got it, we got it! And race over. Oh, I almost lapped that guy. I did so well, I almost lapped a guy. He was a minute behind. There is, in fact, a racer in this game called Fatty. And true to name, he is dragging behind everyone in the field. I have no idea how many more races we got. How many have we done? 6? So we're halfway. Not too bad. Again, one of the things that I always disliked about these kinds of games is when they're stingy with the tracks. Now, I get it. On the N64, the cart was not very big. I hit the brake instead of the boost, or what should be the brake. Oh, no, that's the laser beam. Wow. It always feels kind of cheap when you play one of these games and they don't have at least double-digit tracks. Now, this one does have double-digit tracks. It has 12. It still feels like it's a little bit on the light side. For comparison, Rock and Roll Racing, which we've looked at as a full episode and also as like a little bonus on the end of another episode of Rental Regrets. That game has different home worlds, and yes, eventually you do repeat some of the tracks that you see during the game in the late stages, if I'm not mistaken. But that game has probably 40 or 50 different track variations during the entire game, because every world has unique tracks, and I want to say it's probably half the tracks on each world and increasing numbers. So the first world you have 8 races, and it's 4 original tracks, and then you repeat them. The second one has 10, so it's 5 and 5. The third one has 12, so it's 6 and 6. So just by that math, they already have 15 tracks, and I think there's at least, 2 other worlds in that game? And it keeps going up in the number of tracks that you do. That was a Super Nintendo game, and it had more tracks. Now, I get it. These are 3D environments built out of polygons, and that's a lot of data to put on an N64 cart. That's not my problem. That's the developer's problem. Figure out a way to put more tracks in your game. Now, in the case of these tracks, I will note that the ones that we are seeing on these later, more difficult circuits do seem to be different, which is nice. They have little variations, or they're a little bit longer. Whoa! Here we go. We're doing all right. We're doing all right. I don't see anyone. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, God, I hit the wall. It's over. Not as big a lead this time. Gray caught up to me. But I'm still way ahead of him. Again, I don't know. I never destroyed a vehicle. It's got to be something else. It's got to be when you set a lap record, you get a bonus point. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. I think we're coming up on the truly wacky level designs. There's a couple that go, I think, straight up anti-gravity. I might be wrong. Get out of here. No, get out of here. All three of you, get out of here. All right, we're done. I'm passing all of you. Except for this guy who also hit his boost. He doesn't want to concede defeat. Oh, God. All right, all right. Ow, that hurt. Ow, that hurt. Whoa! I went over that jump so fast that, oh God! No, the chaos on screen. I went over that jump so high that the game didn't know what to do and it just threw me back down on the track. Oh God, I hear it. Oh, it hit. No, it missed. Cool. Ah, there we go. I'm back at first. Ow. Damn it. Why did I say anything? Alright, got some health back. Laser beam still low. Whoa! And boost. See ya. Not first anymore, bro! I'm gonna hit another wall coming up. Here they come. Oh, I knew it! Alright, we're doing alright. We're doing alright. Ah, oh God, what happened? Where am I? This will not be a clean victory. This one has too many things I can bounce off of. Yeah, I kind of wish you could shoot the weapons backwards. There are some that you can do that with, but not every weapon. I love the little bats that fly overhead. I have a feeling if you could look at them, they probably are composed of maybe 2-3 polygons each. Ah! Or they might not even be that. It may be just a 2D piece of art. Oh, speed up. Whoa! Yeah! Didn't get clear of the guy behind me. Ow. Okay, we're fine. Oh, we made it through that one. Whew. I'll say this, the game is more chaotic because of the high speed, but it's fun. I'm enjoying myself. How are they powering these tracks? If everything got destroyed on planet Earth, I mean, how do they have any electricity? Did they land and set up some cold fusion generators? I mean, I guess if they can run remote motorcycles in this game, there's no reason they couldn't also, I guess, run other electric devices. Ah! Alright, we won. I think I was catching up to the guy in last again. Oh yeah, good lord. Fatty was 124.91 behind us. I think it's a foregone conclusion that I will complete this circuit in first place, but who knows, maybe something falls completely apart at the end. Eighth to qualify. So basically show up. Ah, I was so close that time. Oh crap. No guardrails here. Uh-oh. Oh, of all the places to do that one. They killed a lot of racers! All right, I like the design of this one a lot. I like the chaos and the fact that you can't just bounce off the walls for this one. Whoa, okay, here's one of the more weird designs. Okay, get back on track. Oh, this is where having too much speed can cause some serious issues. All right, we're fine. We're fine. Oh, God. Right off. Right into the lava. Didn't kill me, though. Whoa! Oh, no! No! Stay on track! Stay on target. Uh-oh. Ah, I'm dead. Ah! All right, so that's where the developers clearly said, we don't know how to get back to the start line from where we're at, so they just throw you through a warp tube that makes you go back to the start. Well, they tried, you know. That's the important part, right? I think my weapon just stopped the guy behind me. Cool. Oh, God, they give you boosts, and I don't want to use them in this level. Oh, except maybe here. Woohoo! I think that was a good call there. Definitely gave me some distance between second place and myself. Ray, or whatever his name is. He's hanging. He's been in it for pretty much every single track. So clearly they didn't want to just give the game away for the best racer. You still have to compete against the second place guy. Whee! Ah! Sky texture. Ow. There's the wall. And we're making it. We're making it. I think Great Lap is whenever you... Oh. Okay, so Gray's nowhere behind me anymore. Maybe... Oh, there he is. He hadn't come through the wall yet. Ooh. No, I'm in... Some juice back. See, they put so many health recovery items in this one. I never feel like I'm in danger. Whoa! Alright. Alright. Ow, ow. The ping-ponging. God, the music's really doing it for me right now, man. There is something to be said about having a soundtrack that fits the game as opposed to songs that were written by just a band that wasn't really specifically tied to any particular property like this kind of game. And just making the tracks fit perfectly for the experience. No knock to Wipeout for what they did. Pulled a lot of techno bands in that were really big at the time to the Wipeout series. I do like the soundtrack for this one. I think it really works for what they're trying to go for. 40 seconds behind. All right, he was nowhere near me. We did good. I have no idea. If I've won every track, we got 3 left, maybe? We're going to finish the circuit, and then we'll go ahead and call it an episode. There we go. I'm going to get this boost one time. Go. Ah, I fell short. Waited too long. Oh, God. Here it comes. Nope, it passed. Whoa, okay, I don't know what just happened. Things are getting a little too chaotic. This is where they're really challenging your sense of what is and isn't happening on screen. I outran it? Nope, I didn't. I was so close to outrunning it for so long, though. I will say that this was one of those game soundtracks that, well, I don't think it's maybe the best soundtrack standalone I've ever heard in my entire life. It is absolutely one that I have found the tracks online for through less than legal means. Off. And I've tried listening to them in the past, and man, they don't stand well alone. When you're driving a bike in a video game where you're locked in on trying to make all the turns and not bounce off the walls nonstop while you're racing, it totally works. On its own, I don't know if it has the same juice. Haha, you tried. You got nothing. You got nothing. Go ahead and use my final boost. Oh, yeah. Whoa, we lapped someone! Yeah! 2! Go for 3! We've lapped 3! Come on, do it! Do it! I absolutely boat raced those guys. That was awesome. I think it was passing 5th place, in fact, so 4 guys. 90 points. I can literally sit out the last, 3 races and still win? I'm not going to do that, but I could. All right, here we go. I think it says final race at the bottom of the screen when you get the final race. I didn't do it. I like the purple. The purple works here. I also like that for once I was making those turns. Didn't last, but I was making them. Whee! Right into the fog. Ah, they're catching up. I think one of them just used its turbo. Or nitro, or whatever you want to call it. Which means I should probably consider the same. This was a bad idea! Alright. Oh, look at this. Ah, you dick. Comes a split. No fast way to do that one, or smooth way to do that one correctly. A little too jarring. Oh, crap, I fell. Alright, I guess. Pick up some speed. Ow! Oh. Alright. I love that we can see other planets, but technically we're still on Earth, so where the hell did those things come from? Perhaps in the distant future, they've gained the ability to draw other planets into the same orbit as Earth, which would be catastrophic and probably destroy the planet and what other planets were drawn into the orbit to begin with. You know, pretty much your classic "this was a terrible idea" situation. Ah. Diggy, 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 diggy. Alright, 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 we got this. Oh, this is the part that's really bad, though. Oh, God. Oh, some of the flippy-dippy is not working on me. Oh, come on! Oh, I could have lapped those two, damn it. I ping-ponged off them. All right, so what do we got left? 1, 2 races, and then we're done? And then the game gives me nothing because I've unlocked everything. There we go, final race. Oh! Oh, it's so close! Well, that was absolutely the right place to use the turbo boost, and now we're on... we're in Oz? We are. I mean, that looked like we were on the yellow brick road, right? The road was, in fact, yellow. Everything is like a obnoxiously bright color of... like neon... Oh, come on! Yeah, we're inside the spaceship. What did that do for me? I don't know. But we're in it. And now we're back on Earth. Boring Earth. Whoa! Okay. Okay. Well, ow, that hurt. It's UFO. It's Oz with UFOs. Whew. A lot of straightaways at the beginning of the race, and then things become a little more chaotic and awful. So that thing that I just passed and did not go into is a Wally Warp, and what that does is if you hit it, it teleports you backwards to the previous warp. So it's a way to basically screw over other players if they're in the front of the track and you're, like, say, in last place. You can literally bump them backwards to where you're at. You don't see it very often because it would absolutely destroy races if they put them all over the place. Basically, first place would never be first place until the very end of the race. Alright, this one not so chaotic, not so many places to fall off the track and have awful things happen, so we're probably not going to lap anyone, but that's fine. Visually, it's a very pretty track. The nice neon green plants around it, which apparently maybe we're not on Earth, or we're in a pocket of Earth that wasn't destroyed in the, what I'm guessing was a nuclear apocalypse. Plus a lot of UFOs in this game. A lot of UFOs. Including this track. Whoa! Someone tried to hit me. I don't think they did. It's not Gray who's following for once. He's too far behind to keep up. And it's over. We did it! We came in first place in every single track. With the overpowered bike that you're really not supposed to have until you beat the game and then they give it to you. Whatever. Wah, 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 lift it to the heavens! Enshrine it as one of the greats of all time. There's that fade to white again. Your prize is nothing, cheater. Oh, they give you another password. Let's see what Ghostly does. I still have the went to Game Facts to find the codes. All the landscape on screen becomes transparent. So this sounds terrible. Now try using a regular bike. Cheater. They called me out. All right, you got me. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap things up for this episode. We'll go ahead and do the review phase. Let's do a round of the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that the game does a fantastic job of conveying a sense of speed, albeit very reckless, chaotic speed. There are enough straight stretches of track throughout the races that you can open up the nitro boost and really get moving. and the game does an admirable job keeping up in terms of frame rate. Is it flawless in those really high-speed areas? No, but it doesn't crash the game, and that's the important part. If you're going to make a game where you're supposed to be going, almost mind-numbing high speeds, the game needs to be able to keep up in terms of frame rate and just not altogether break. And this game doesn't break. It keeps going. The soundtrack, which is comprised of all original music, fits the game to a T. The techno-inspired tracks are all high-tempo and intense, matching the frenetic energy of the races themselves. You make a futuristic racing game, you gotta use futuristic quoties music, and that is techno. The track designs feature some very cool ideas, like the U-shaped dips that occurred in multiple tracks. The corkscrews and even the level with the lava and no guardrails added a fun twist to the tracks. They added much needed variety to each race, and that is very important. If you're trying to keep a game engaging, you gotta make a lot of variety in each of the tracks. If it's just a gradual left here and a gradual right here, you're not gonna feel like there's any difference in any of the race tracks, and it'll kill the fun of the game, frankly. The weapons, which we didn't really get to utilize to their fullest in the second circuit that we did, have some interesting additions. There are tracks spanning barrier beams that prevent other racers from passing you. There's an EMP blast that we saw a couple of times that runs the entire length of the track, and if it hits you, it shuts down the controls of your bike. There's a weapon that creates a portal that we also saw at least once, but never picked up ourselves. It creates a portal where if a racer goes into it, they get put back at where you initially launched the weapon. So if you wait, 20, 30 seconds to launch the second half of that portal, you could really screw over someone who's behind you because they'll get thrown way back in the race. And your second weapon, the secondary weapon in this game, is very useful. It's that little red beam that you could shoot out of the bike. It slows down a racer the longer you remain in contact with them. And if you're, in a really close race, and you manage to hit a racer in front of you with that at the last second, you can screw them over so bad. The color scheme for each track is nice and vivid, and it's varied enough that there's no confusing where you are from race to race. The futuristic sci-fi racing genre is dominated by bright neon colors and sharp lines on everything, and this game gets the colors right. Maybe it's a little bit too muddy for the sharp lines, but I kind of expect that from an N64 game. That's not something that they were ever going to get right on games on this console. Maybe in the next generation when we start getting a PlayStation 2 and GameCube games. Unfortunately, I never had an Xbox original, so we can't look at any of those games. But at least with the GameCube and the PlayStation 2, you'll definitely see some of those sharp lines come out. As far as the bad, every track contains multiple sections that feel obstructively narrow. There are way too many instances where you have to make a turn at speed where you are more likely than not to just bounce off of walls instead of making a clean turn. Thankfully, the game doesn't outright stop your vehicle when it makes contact with a wall, but it just makes the racing feel sloppy, and that detracts from the experience. You're not racing in those instances, you're surviving the turn. In that same vein, there are areas of track where if you are moving too fast and your racer jumps in the air, you end up bouncing off of invisible barriers above the track. That breaks immersion. If the game couldn't handle the possibility of a racer going too fast to stay on the track, it shouldn't have allowed you to go that fast, period. Or they should have redesigned the track to have no jumps that can potentially launch you off the track altogether. Don't add invisible barriers above your track. Let the chaos ensue. That's what's fun. Don't try to hold my hand and tell me, you shouldn't have gone that fast. Here, we're going to pull you back down. That's dumb. It's just bad design. A common problem with these kinds of racing games that feature weapons occurs here. There are multiple functionally identical missile weapons. As far as I could tell, the only difference was the color choice. You get to choose your favorite. You can shoot yellow rockets or red rockets or green rockets or even purple ones. Unless they do something other than hit the enemy and explode, you need 2 at max. one dummy fires and has no lock on, and one homing. That's it. That's all you need. The rest are just filler. I've said this before, and I'll say it again with racing games. Give me more tracks. The fact that you see repeats when you advance to the harder circuits just sucks. The harder circuits should be comprised of all new, harder tracks, not the same milder ones that you've already run once, or if you're playing the last circuit there, twice. Because you'll see those 4 tracks that we saw on the very first circuit, in the middle circuit, and then in the third circuit. I don't understand the point of a health bar if the game litters shield pickups everywhere on the track. I was never in danger of losing all my health. And even if I did lose all my health, you can't wreck out of the race. You just slow down way more when you make impact with the walls or with weapons. Maybe on higher difficulties they give you fewer pickups or the weapons are more damaging, but this is why your kart racer games don't bother with health bars. You get hit in those games and it stuns you for a second or two. You like pop up in the air and lose control of your racer for a second, and that's it. I don't think health bars make any sense in these games, especially if you can't be destroyed. As far as the ugly, the use of fog in this game is aggressive. Thankfully, the track is visible from far enough away that it doesn't ever catch you by surprise, but it takes away from the environmental detail, which isn't too big a problem because the environments are kind of butt. They clearly kept the details on unimportant areas surrounding the track low, because there are a ton of assets that featured maybe a handful of polygons, and that was it. I get it, your focus should be on the track and the racer, not the light pole you're going under, but when you see the janky parts in the environment, you can't unsee them. You see how little detail there is. It's a bummer that you can't turn around on the track to mess with other racers, but as I said in the episode, I suspect they did it to prevent you from breaking the game on sections of track that jump over pits. First-person camera view is unusable, as we can see here. It whips violently every time you pivot your bike, and it ends up making you feel sick, at least if you're like me. I mean, I'm having a hard time watching the screen right now. I gotta put my hand up to block it. It's so bad. They shouldn't have bothered with this view, or if they did, they should have made it so the camera didn't pivot every time you turned. The on-screen UI isn't as obstructive as Wipeout XL's was, but they made it look way too simplistic. I think it goes to show the value of hiring an outside art studio to design your text and other assets like Psygnosis ended up doing. The font here for your position and your speed don't match the design of the speedometer or the shield or weapon meters. It all looks generic and just not fluent. It's not designed to match. It's ugly, very ugly UI. All right, let's go ahead and give the game a score. We do our score in Randars, 1 to 10. I love the sense of speed conveyed in the game, and I actually enjoy some of the on-screen chaos that comes with that speed. But as always, I wish there were more unique tracks, and frankly, the weapons are uninspired, and it felt sloppy. The racing in this game felt sloppy. I'm giving this game a 6 Randars. If you're a purist for games that enable clean racing lines from carefully crafted track design, this is not the game for you. You spend just as much time ping-ponging off of walls as you do running straight stretches at speed. And while I like the chaos of flying so high above the track that a mystical energy field bounces me back down, it breaks the immersion of the race. You have a health bar. Make me crash if I'm going too fast, stay on the track, and then make that your penalty. Slow down. Or lower the speed of all the racers, which sounds like blasphemy, but anything would be better than just having a barrier bounce you back if you're going too high. Ultimately, there's other racers that convey a ridiculous sense of speed without being clunky around the turns, and that holds this game back from being great. 6 Randars. I think it's too chaotic for its own good. That's going to do it for this episode of Nubs Collection. As always, I do appreciate each of you watching, and I will see you next time.